the Director of Public Prosecution by himself, Mr. Noordin Haji, gave an exclusive interview at the Star newspaper, stating explicitly that there will be no graft charges preferred against any politician. A statement that was not backed by any law, a statement that was not founded by any law that is known here in Kenya, and a statement that was indeed unconstitutional. Now, this means that the politicians or any person who is vying for a political seat has the leeway to do whatever it is they can in their power, and they will not face any corruption charges because the Director of Public Prosecutions shall not charge them up until election. Now, while the Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Noordin Haji, is stating that, it is no wonder if after the election period, he still extends that grace that he has awarded to the politicians. Now, what does this mean? This means that all other court cases of citizens of the Republic of Kenya facing criminal charges will carry on, except that of politicians, because the politicians who are in power because of the sovereignty of the people of Kenya will be busy campaigning. So our question today is, if he is halting prosecution of graft cases for politicians, why can't the same be afforded and accorded to other citizens of the Republic of Kenya? We should then see uniformity, that if you're not going to charge politicians who are in positions of power and have all the time in the world to come to court, then why is it that other ordinary Kenyans are going to be prosecuted because they found themselves in the wrong side of the law? This is discriminatory in nature. This is an abuse of office. This is him acting ultra vires and acting in an unconstitutional manner. Now, we were approached by the activist Charles Rubia to institute a petition before the High Court, challenging his decision not to prefer graft charges on politicians. Because at the very least, he should then say, okay, if the politicians need to focus on their campaign, then the rest of the citizens of the Republic of Kenya should also be awarded the same grace and concentrate in attending the campaigns so that they can also choose their leaders in the forthcoming general elections. This is because he's probably seeking some favorism. He's probably seeking some friendship from people who are about to be in power, which is wrong. He is a person who's holding an office that has a lot of public interest. Why are we seeing this? Is this a prelude to his letters that he's been writing? Is this why corruption cases in courts do not proceed? It's always mention after mention because the Director of Public Prosecution is unable to proceed. So we are challenging his decision not to prefer graft charges on politicians. So does that then mean any other person who is involved with graft is going to be prosecuted, but not politicians? Yet they're the ones who are in positions of power because of our sovereignty, us as the Republic of Kenya. That is not only unfair, but it is not feasible, and it is not supposed to be upheld by any court of law. Now, his defense or his reasoning is that it will not harm the country for us to wait for another 5 months until the elections are done. But what if we are faced with the same predicaments that we faced in 2007 because the people of Kenya are agitated? What if the general elections don't happen as we are all hoping that they will happen? What then happens? Does that then mean the politicians have the leeway to do whatever it is they want in their power? And people who are in positions of power have the powers to make decisions on monies that are taxpayers' monies. What is that saying about our republic? Are we being forced to be in a dictatorship where one Noordin Haji makes decisions by himself, for himself, against the citizens of the Republic of Kenya? This is not only embarrassing to the state, but it is something that requires urgent and swift action. And the worst part is, it was an exclusive interview in a nationwide circulation newspaper, The Star. It covered 3 pages. That is an abuse to the people of Kenya. It means that us here on the grassroots level, we are not being considered. They're only considering the people in power. how does that look to us, even as we're looking forward to the general election? Is this going to be another dictatorship that is coming, yet the Republic of Kenya is a democratic state? This is not acceptable. This is illegal. It's unconstitutional. And the petitioner, Charles Rubia, is justified for bringing this to the attention of the court. And we hope that this will actually evoke emotion. And because this is a matter of public interest, we're talking about graft cases that are talking to the tune of billions and trillions of taxpayers' monies. What are we saying? Why then are we paying so much taxes? So that the people in power can have more power, so that by the time they are elected in positions of power, it is the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. What then about the people who cannot stand in power? What of the people who would wish to lead but are not politicians? What of their plight? So we are bringing the question of abuse of office, favorism, nepotism, all the issues that we've been discussing about the Director of Public Prosecutions acting in his individual capacity. This is not a directive that came by virtue of the office of the Director of Public Prosecution, but it is him himself, Mr. Noordin Haji, who went and sought for an exclusive interview to make the announcement that no graft charges will be preferred against politicians. So he should come out and defend himself this time. And for once, we are expecting to see that the courts will act in their power and in their discretion to right this wrong. Because if we continue moving at this rate, we can only fear for the general elections that are approaching. So now what we are saying is corruption. What he is saying, what Noordin Haji is saying, is corruption is legal from yesterday, from the date the article was published, up until the date of election. Because he is of the opinion that this is an international practice. Which other country, which other state in the whole world, in all the continents, makes theft of public funds from this because of this? And why is he acting in a vacuum? He is not the only person, he is not the only body who is mandated to act on the criminal justice system. We have the Director of Criminal Investigations, we have the Inspector General of Police, we have the courts. He is making decisions as though he is the president himself. And we all know that our constitution only allows immunity from criminal proceedings from a sitting president. No one else is granted that immunity. So for you to now say that politicians all over the Republic of Kenya are immune to graft charges, are we then saying that we are about to experience looting as never before? I think it is high time that we carry ourselves with the dignity of the state that we are in. The Republic of Kenya is a very beautiful country, and we cannot let things like this that are going to deteriorate the reputation and our country, because once our country is looted, then what are we saying to our future generations? What are we saying to our senior citizens? That there will be no money coming in because politicians are now looting? And this is not a fight against politicians, but it's a fight against Mr. Noordin Haji, who is now saying that politicians are immune from graft charges. So from yesterday up until the date of election, they can loot as much as they want without facing any criminal repercussions. This is wrong. This requires the attention it deserves, and this needs to be rectified effective immediately. That is all.
Court instructions yet again from another Kenyan activist, Charles Rubia, to file another petition against one Noordin Haji. The frequency of these petitions are becoming now almost every week 2 to 3 against the Director of Public Prosecution. One, what the instructions we have is to challenge the decision where he has amended the Constitution and given immunity to criminals, to thugs, to people robbing our own taxes in the offenses corruption. He has now amended the law to the effect that for the next 5 months, you cannot charge, he will not charge any politician who is involved in graft cases. The question of the politicians, we are talking about both members from political parties and also independent candidates. Roughly a population of more than 500,000 citizens, they cannot be arrested. The sitting governors, the members of parliament have been given the mandate to loot every money until they are safe until 9th of September of August 2022. Is this immunity found anywhere in the law? Article 157 that creates the position of the DPP provides in Article 157, sub-Article 11, that the decision, the power of the DPP should be exercised in the interest of the public. Is this the interest of the public? It is not. One, the DPP has completely blocked the Inspector General of Police, the Director of Criminal Investigation, and the EACC from arresting or from taking to court anybody with an offense of corruption. Does the DPP have, does Noordin Haji have these powers? He doesn't have these powers. Noordin Haji operates under the National Council for the Administration of Justice, the NCJA, chaired none other than the Chief Justice. We have sued the NCAJ because they have failed to take charge of the criminal process in this country. The stakeholders were never consulted. For one Noordin Haji to say unilaterally he will not charge any politician involved in an anti-corruption matter. The first petition we filed for his removal to the Public Service Commission, the petition where he got injunction orders to stop any prosecution, we provided more than 5,000 anti-corruption cases lying before his desk. For the last, from 2019 to this year, there are 5,000 cases of corruption. Investigation have been done by the DCI. Investigation have been done by the EACC. Last week, the EACC chair, Twahib, gave a presser that 3 governors are supposed to be charged. The files are with the DPP. The DPP's office has become a parking lot. It is a parking lot because it is an office where those alleged to be involved in corruption will take money to corrupt the DPP so that they are not charged. We are aware a court in Cabernet has given him the decision to charge absolutely himself. We are aware he made a circular that any serious matter that involves millions of money, any matter of anybody important, it is him by name, Noordin Haji, to deal with that file. Kenyans have recruited and are paying salaries of more than 2,500 prosecutors. None has the power to decide to charge a politician. None has the power to decide to charge anybody involved in corruption above serious amounts of money. He has amassed power to himself. The questions our client is asking: is one Noordin Haji above the law? 2, can he give clemency of thieves? Can he stop prosecution of people who are stealing from us? What about the ordinary Wanjiku? We are before the High Court. Today, thousands and thousands of small people, small boys, small girls, small women, villagers, barefooted, are being prosecuted in court today. Have has Noordin Haji stopped the prosecution of all these people? He has stopped prosecution of politicians. Has he stopped prosecution of the voters? Because the voters also need to be present during the campaigns. Are we heading to a situation where the court processes have been suspended until elections? Farmers, I had a chance to be in Trans Nzoia last week, and farmers told me, if this is the position, it is harvest time. Are we going to stop prosecution and charging of farmers because they are going to harvest their maize? So this selectivity of decision-making is geared towards one thing. One, we have instructions that one Noordin Haji is hoping the next government coming in August 19 will be formed by politicians. So if he does not prosecute them, whoever takes power will retain him as the next DPP. Two, he is hoping to get political favor from both sides. He has extensively said this is an international best practice. Nowhere in the world will any judicial process or any criminal justice system stop prosecution of a criminal offense because of a political process. That is a lie. Two, he has not issued any circular to that effect. It was an utterance on a radio station and an utterance on a media house. The questions our client is asking, one, we know very well Noordin Haji will now go and call the SUPKEM, the supreme organ of the religious, of the Muslims, to issue a statement that people are fighting him. Let it be very clear. We are not fighting the religion called Muslim. Myself, my name is Omari. You can associate it with any religion that you want. Nobody is waging a war against a religion. Two, calling press conferences of Muslims in Garissa to demonstrate. The questions we are asking, has he exercised the power completely devoid of nepotism? That's the question. When several people have been arrested, Catholics have been arrested and charged, SCDA members have been arrested and charged, PCA church members have been arrested and charged, has any religion or religious organization come out to defend one of their flock that has been arrested? So the decision to rush back to religion and his background is not sound. Let Noordin Haji, one, respond to our affidavits. We have filed a petition. We have served him with several petitions. He has not responded to any. He is calling on SUPKEM. He's calling on other entities to demonstrate and say one thing or another about the war. Lastly, Treasury. We have joined in Treasury. We have joined in the national speakers of national assemblies, both Senate and National Assembly. The reason, the budget that was passed last week, the office of the DPP, the office of the EACC, the office of the Inspector General, and the office of the DCI were allocated more money to fight graft. That money is for what? If Noordin has said nobody can be charged, that budget we are calling for it to be relocated back so that it can go to take care of citizens who need hospital bills and who have other things to deal with. It is simply, and I summarize this, a clear demonstration of Noordin's intention to sabotage the president of this country, whose legacy is to fight corruption. Mr. President, your own DPP has put it very clearly that your legacy for fighting corruption will not see the light of the day. So we are calling upon the president, if the courts are not moving very fast, the president should act very fast and remove from office and create a tribunal to remove one Noordin from office, because he is the impediment towards the fight against corruption. That's all. Formally, when in a meeting at State House, one Noordin said investigations are shady, and he blamed the EACC and the DCI. Today, he's saying it is not the investigations that are shady. It is that it is political time. Stop the prosecution. So the office of the DPP is not a parking lot. It's a place where once the investigating agencies send files, you go and bribe. It is a den where corruption is perpetuated. You clean yourself. Once the EACC, once the DCI forwards your file, you take millions to the office of the DPP, then you are cleared. Otherwise, what could be the rationale of keeping more than 5,000 files that have been investigated? They have never been charged.
As a public officer, you sought to do justice. Is that what you call justice?
It is the justice as per Noordin Haji. But the justice as provided for in Article 157 is completely different. Article 157, sub-Article 11, that he is supposed to exercise his mandate judiciously with regard to the public interest. He is acting to his own interest, not the interest of the millions of Kenyans who need him to act the way he's supposed to.